Succubus, an attractive and dangerous female demon, featured in various mythologies and folk beliefs, especially popular in the Middle Ages and later periods. These beings often enter their dreams at night in various ways and thus steal their energy. The term succubus is derived from the Latin word succubare, meaning to lie under, and refers to their method of dominating and controlling their men. It is possible to encounter the oldest stories and figures of these, especially in Christian, Jewish, and pre-Islamic beliefs. The origin of the succubus dates back specifically to Mesopotamian mythology. Lilith, one of the oldest demons from Mesopotamia, is considered by many to be the first succubus. Lilith is known as Adam's first wife, but because he wanted to be equal with her and refused to submit, he was expelled from the Garden of Eden. From this point on, Lilith became an independent entity and began to maintain her hostility towards humans, especially men. The legend of Lilith evolved over time into the concept of succubus and turned into a figure associated with nightmares, insomnia, and sexual desires in Christianity. In medieval Europe, with the spread of Christianity, the succubus figure became popular. During this period, sexuality, especially forbidden sexual desires, was associated with the devil and demons. When people encountered succubuses in their dreams, it was seen as a sign that they were living a sinful and ungodly life. Succubus would enter men's dreams, appear to them in seductive ways, and engage in sexual intercourse. The primary purpose of these legendary beings was to corrupt men by stealing their souls. A succubus was often described as a woman of extraordinary beauty and attractiveness. They were believed to use a series of charms and illusions to deceive their victims. However, although physically attractive, these demons' true nature was demonic. Many medieval stories tell that succubuses enter men's dreams and drain their life energy during sexual intercourse, weakening men. There are many scary stories and legends told about succubus. Many of these stories emphasize that they are directly linked to the devil and intend to harm people. Here is one of these stories. In medieval France, Robert, a rich and powerful duke, was widowed at a young age and lives his life alone. However, one night, he sees an extraordinarily beautiful woman in his dream. The woman approaches him, touches him with a warm smile, and starts talking to him. Robert is attracted to this woman, begins to see her repeatedly in his dreams, and soon begins to desire her in real life as well. Every night, this mysterious woman in his dreams comes to Robert's bed and starts spending time with him. The woman's presence initially brings great happiness to Robert, but over time, strange things begin to happen. Robert begins to feel tired and exhausted all the time. It becomes difficult to wake up in the morning. His body becomes weak and his eyes become sunken. But despite this, the desire to see the woman becomes stronger every day. After a short while, Robert's close circle begins to distance themselves from him. Her friends and servants are worried that she constantly looks weak and sick. One day, an old priest of the palace visits Robert. The priest says he senses a demonic presence in Robert's room and gives him a warning. Don't you realize that this woman is slowly consuming your soul? At first, Robert ignores this warning, but the priest tells him that this being is a succubus, and the only way to destroy it is through prayers and holy items. One night, the priest and several monks enter Robert's room and conduct a ritual. Meanwhile, the succubus shows its true face, a demonic entity, a terrifying mask on its face, attacking Robert with its clawed hands. However, with the power of prayers, the succubus is forced to flee the room and never return. Robert gradually regains his health after this incident, but it will never be the same again. The succubus is a revived figure in popular culture today, particularly in horror films, television series, and fantasy novels. In modern fiction, the succubus is often depicted as a figure that is both alluring and deadly. These characters are often presented as beings who use their powers of seduction to trap men, manipulate them, and eventually drain their energy. An incubus is a type of demon that is the male counterpart of the succubus. Just like the succubus, the incubus is known as a demon that visits people, especially women, in their sleep at night. Incubus enters women's dreams and has sexual intercourse with them, absorbing their energy. These creatures are supernatural beings frequently mentioned in Christian mythology, folktales, and superstitions throughout the Middle Ages. The word incubus comes from Latin and means to lie on. This carries an implication that the demon is putting pressure on its victim. People believe that the incubus collapsed on the woman and drained her of her energy. The origins of the incubus myth, similar to the succubus, are found in ancient cultures and mythologies. Various demon figures are encountered in Mesopotamian, Babylonian, and Jewish mythologies. In particular, the figure of Lilith in Jewish mythology forms the basis of both succubus and incubus legends. Lilith's children, or demons thought to have been created by her, would enter people's dreams and harm them. Incubus is associated in Christian mythology with beliefs that people are seduced by demonic forces and driven to commit sexual sins. Sexual desires that did not comply with the moral rules taught by the church were seen as the work of demons. Especially women being visited by incubus was perceived as part of a demonic plan to capture their souls. When women fell victim to the incubus, they would experience physical and mental health problems and feel tired and exhausted. Although incubus is often described as an attractive and handsome man, his true nature is quite scary. He targets women who appear innocent or defenseless and takes advantage of their weaknesses. During sexual intercourse, she absorbs the life energy of her victims, which can lead to the victims weakening over time or even death. The incubus approaches its victims in their dreams, sometimes seducing them in a romantic and alluring manner. However, when victims wake up, they feel extremely tired and exhausted. It is believed that demons do not visit their victims just once. Incubus can visit its chosen victim multiple times. This constant energy drain can cause the victim to feel sick over time and experience problems such as insomnia. In the Middle Ages, many diseases or psychological conditions were explained by attacks by incubus. The incubus figure has found a place in modern popular culture, just like the succubus. In various media such as fantasy literature, horror films, and video games, the incubus often appears as a seductive and dangerous male figure. These characters use their charm to manipulate women and try to control them. In modern culture, the incubus continues to be interpreted as a figure representing sexual power and seduction. Especially in vampire and demon stories, incubus and succubus-like creatures are depicted as beings that seduce people and steal their life energy. Today, the term incubus is also associated with sexual disorders and is used as an explanation for paranormal experiences experienced during conditions such as sleep paralysis. As a result, the incubus is a powerful figure shaped around the themes of sexuality, weakness, and loss of control, which are one of the most basic fears of people in both mythological and religious beliefs. In both historical and modern narratives, the incubus has been a symbol that leads human beings to confront their desires and dark side. The incubus is not only a sexual demon, but also a symbol of deep fear, dark desires, and loss of control. His story emphasizes the weakness of the soul, the power of desires and fears over man. Seraphine's experiences show that these dangerous beings can infiltrate the world and dominate people in their most vulnerable moments. Incubus and succubus are seen as two opposite poles of the same mythological system. Succubus targets men, while incubus targets women. According to some beliefs, there's a cycle between succubus and incubus. The succubus uses the energy and sperm material it receives from men and transforms this energy into an incubus. Then the incubus steals this energy from the women. Thus, a kind of transfer of energy between demons and a continuous cycle continues.